Welcome back to the Riichi Mahjong Guide. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the rest of the yakuman as well as a couple of rare yaku, all of which have to do with being in tenpai at the very beginning of the game. The first two yakuman we're going to discuss are Tenhou and Chiihou. Tenhou is usually translated as blessing of heaven, and Chiihou is usually translated as blessing of earth. These are both yakuman that require you to win with your first 14 tiles. Tenhou is the yakuman that applies to East, winning on their first 14 tiles before anyone even gets to do anything. And Chiihou refers to a player who is not East, being in tenpai from the first 13 tiles and then winning by tsumo on the first tile that they draw within the first round of uninterrupted turns. So by uninterrupted turns, I mean that no one can declare chi, pon, or kan before you get to tsumo in order for you to claim the yakuman Chiihou. It's the same type of thing as with ippatsu after Riichi. As an example for a Chiihou, let's say we open up with these 13 tiles, and when it comes around to our turn, we draw the 19, which is one of the tiles on which we are waiting, so we can just declare tsumo for the yakuman Chiihou. Pretty simple, there's no real skill or anything to it, you just have to win on your first draw. But let's say that you're not East, and you have this hand, and in the first uninterrupted round of turns, someone discards one of your winning tiles before you get to draw. Like the South, for instance. Under some rule sets, you can declare don for the yaku Renhou. It's usually translated as blessing of man. Renhou is kind of a weird yaku. It just requires you to win on the first uninterrupted round of turns by don before you get your first draw. So it requires you to be in tenpai from your starting hand, just like with a Chiihou, but instead you win by don. And sometimes it's counted as a yakuman, but usually it's not. In Akagi, I think it was counted as a baimon, but usually Renhou is counted as a mangan, and it's not counted as 5 han, it's just counted as a mangan. So if you win by Renhou, your hand is just scored as a mangan. Unless your hand without Renhou is somehow worth more than 5 han, then you can just score it however it would normally be scored. But minimum, Renhou is worth a mangan. But like I said, not all rule sets recognize Renhou as a yaku. And would you really be willing to give up the chance to get a Chiihou just to win a Renhou if it's just a mangan? That's a tough decision that you'll have to make if you ever find yourself in this situation, being in tenpai from the first 13 tiles. But let's say you don't get a Tenhou, Chiihou, or Renhou, but you are in tenpai from your first 14 tiles. So either you could have gotten a Tenhou, Chiihou, or Renhou, but it didn't happen. Or you had something like this, where you're just one away from tenpai with your first 13 tiles. And then you draw for your turn, and you get to tenpai. It's not as good as a Chiihou, of course, but you can still declare Riichi with this hand on the first turn. And if you declare Riichi on the first uninterrupted round of turns, it is worth double, and it's called double Riichi. So Renhou and double Riichi are just kind of like a 1 or 2 steps down from Tenhou or Chiihou, and they're a pretty rare yaku, which is why I decided to cover them in this video. So with this type of hand, where you just get to tenpai after your first draw, you can just discard one of the tiles and declare Riichi, and just coast your way through this game, hoping that your winning tile comes out, knowing that you're guaranteed at least the 2 han yaku double Riichi. So to review, we covered a couple yakuman and a couple of rare yaku that all have to do with being in tenpai from the start. Tenhou is a yakuman that you can claim if you win with your first 14 tiles as East, whereas Chiihou is a yakuman you can claim if you are in tenpai from the start, and tsumo with your first draw within the first uninterrupted round of turns. Renhou is similar to Chiihou, where you win by don on the first uninterrupted round of turns before you get your first draw, and is usually only worth a mangan instead of a yakuman. And double Riichi is a 2 han yaku that requires you to declare Riichi on the first uninterrupted round of turns. So now we've covered all of the commonly accepted yakuman and yaku. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and thank you for watching.